Hey guys, Izzy here and welcome back to another video. So today I just want to talk a little bit about the vortex occultist. It's kind of like the latest craze, I believe, amongst the more hardcore mode players. So people like Rise QT and things like that. But I decided to try it in softcore. I only have 8.7k ES, so it's significantly squishier than the hardcore equivalent. I think the guide himself has like something like 12k with the current setup. But this is my variation of it. Is pretty budget. I'm still running a mana flask. Haven't really got around to solve the mana issue. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to tank it with the regen, but I don't really think is like, it doesn't really matter, right? You run a mana flask if you can't tank it instead of a sulfur, which I don't have here, but sulfur is 40% increased damage, which would be more damage obviously, but this current setup I have with this pretty crappy gear, I currently am checking out about 420k on POB per totem. Now we just put it over here. This is the guide without aspect to the spider because I couldn't quite get that belt for cheap, so we'll just import our character real quick. So you can see we're doing about 470 7k, nearly 480k, and that's again Shape Pearl Guardian. So it's pretty good, and what was real damage up is Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Overload. As always, if you have these on your build, you want to take them relatively quickly because it does really help the damage. This is my tree at level 91. I didn't really solve the strength issue until quite late on with a couple of jewels that have strength on them. This one is dex, but anyway. Sorry about that message, guys. But essentially you want to just take as much ES as possible, and then it is a hardcore oriented build. So what the guide's build looked like instead was he didn't take this bit of the tree, and he didn't and he just took a little bit more curse effectiveness over here. It's not too much of a big difference. You know, you can finish taking the ES nodes here as well for a little bit of ES. So for example, if I level up a few more times to 95, then I would get up to 8.1k, and this is with a 540 ES Val Regalia. That's like nothing. You can get these for probably about 3.54 exalts. That's 6 linked, and you know the gear really isn't that expensive. Like the most expensive part is obviously the 6 link. The base itself for this kind of item level is going to be at least about 3.5 exalts, I believe. The amulet is about 1 exalt when I bought it. I think it's like going down in price. But that's basically it for the build. There's not too much to talk about. You want Ignite immunity, you want Bleed and Curse immunity on your flasks. Everything else is really susceptible to change. If you want to run a more offensive setup, you can go Witchfire Brew instead of the instead of a Mana Flask or something like that, and drop one of the defensive curses, which I am running, Enfeeble or Temporal Chain. You can drop one of them if you're in softcore. I didn't bother, and I initially thought about it, but then after seeing the damage once I chucked in Val Ratchet's Fire, it was enough, honestly. Like I said, 477k. This, I believe, is with all the Val RFs and stuff like that on. So you can see enemy here was hit by lightning damage. And as far as clearing, the build is not great. It took me quite a while to get my completion up because it just took so long to clear maps, but it's not the worst build in the world. It's certainly better than something like, I don't know, Heavy Strike or something. So basically, for the playstyle, you want to like drop some across the ground on the floor, and then while both of these skills have a cooldown, the vortex one is only about 1 second, very near to just 1 second flat. Cold snap is 3 seconds, but if you kill anyone in it, anyone killed under the ground effect has like a what does it say? Yeah, there it is. 25% chance to gain a frenzy charge, and similar to Flicker Strike, you can use the frenzy charges even if the skill's on cooldown. You can use a frenzy charge to cast it again. And we use Phase Run because it's a scepter. Sorry, not a scepter, a mace. Which is a scepter, but anyway. I don't think you can use Leap Slam, you may be able to, I don't know. It was just too much of a hassle fitting on attack speed as well. As for the rest of my gear, this was self-crafted. You can probably find something like this for about 1 to 2 exalts on PoE trade, although it's quite a niche item, so you might have some difficulties finding it on PoE trade. And then the Vow Regalia, like I said earlier, would cost you something like 3.5 for exalts. I do have 2 white sockets I got from a Syndicate Vorisi safe house thing. That was pretty good. Essentially, you don't have the white sockets, you want 2 green for blue. Syntrek boots did just fine. You can obviously get get better boots, but they give you Dex and Int. Int gives you a little bit more ES, not a big deal, but Dex was really nice in covering. Like if I take this off, you can't actually use Phase Run. So you couldn't really level it without using Syntrek or getting some Dex somewhere. So for my rings, they're pretty mediocre. You just want some ES, quite a lot of resistances. The fizz damage to attack is completely irrelevant. I just happen to have one roll of it on this ring that I bought, and I crafted a faster Star of Energy Recharge. You definitely want this. The higher rank, the better, obviously. I'm only at rank 1, but you can roll up to 21%, I believe it was. So yeah, you could get something like 42% instead of 31 that I have here. But even at 31%, you get total energy shield recharge occurrence modifier to 46%, which for those of you who don't know, energy shield recharge as default is 2 seconds delay, so that means if you do not take damage for 2 seconds, your energy shield recharge will start regenerating. And one of the reasons why occultist is so powerful with this is because of this node here called Wicked Ward. It gives you a very chunky 100 flat maximum energy shield, which is really nice, but it also gives you energy shield recharge is not interrupted by damage if recharge began recently. So that means if you take some damage and say you proc in multiple or something, and you're about 2/3 of your ES, you walk away for a second, and this depends on how much faster Star of Energy Shield recharge modifier you have. You will start recharging your energy shield, and recharge is not to be confused with regeneration. This is completely different things. You can see where you have about 350 ES regen per second over here. That's completely different from recharge per second, which you can see is a beefy 4.5k recharge per second. And that's what happens when if you wait a little bit and wait for the energy shield to recharge rather than regenerate. And yeah, it's really good. We also take Zealot's Oath, so we have a little bit of energy shield recharge. Really, it's not from the base energy shield recharge you take Zealot's Oath for. It's really for Val Bastion, which gives you another 150 maximum energy, which is again really beefy, really good. But it says 1% of energy shield recharge per second, up to 30% for each enemy you've killed recently, and you can't be stunned while you have energy shield, which is obviously nice quality of life. But the major thing is the regen. You can get up to something quite insane for regen when you're mobbing. Obviously this won't happen when you're doing boss fights, but yeah. So that's the build. I'm not gonna run a map for you guys because I'm in the middle of buying gear and I don't think I really have any good maps to show you, but I can show you guys my Atlas strategy. So at the start of the league, I was running cages and shaped channels, and I kind of got a little bored. So I decided to make this character to run some endgame maps with, and actually start working my way towards the endgame maps, the higher tier red maps. So I decided to shape Spider Forest. This is normally a tier 10. So I shaped it to tier 15, and I have Tower at tier 15, as well as at tier 16 I uncompleted all the Guardian maps, and I never had Val Temple completed, but anyway. And then I have Elder Burial Chambers. For those of you who don't know how to get the Elder Orb, you need to complete the entirety of the Zana quest line until it tells you to kill the 4 Shaper Guardians and Shaper. So yeah, that's really about it. That's my other strategy. So the idea is I run Spider Forest, Tower, and the Elder Burial Chambers for burials, and Spider Forest drops Doctor, Tower drops Nurse, which 8 of those Nurse cards turn into a Doctor, which is very nice. So that's the idea. Now I'm in the process of making another new build that's a little bit faster at clearing maps. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. You can probably figure out what the build is from these 3 items. But anyway, I hope you guys had a nice Christmas and New Year. That is the vortex occultist build, currently at level 91, 8.7k ES with very cheap gear. Beat Shaper Deathless, beat all his Guardians Deathless, did Red Tier Uber, Red Tier Elder, did normal Aziri Deathless, all of that. Haven't tried Uber Elder yet, haven't found an Uber Orb to try, but I'm sure the build will be capable of it, with a little bit more investment in defense perhaps, and perhaps a little bit more damage as well, if you get around to multi-modding this Opal Scepter right here. But that's about it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good year.